This week, we're reading Parshat Beshalach, in which we read one of the most dramatic and iconic moments of the Torah, the splitting of the Red Sea. It's the grandiose moment, and was just at the right time. When we needed it most, God came through with a huge miracle. The sea split, we went through, the Egyptians were drowned, and we get the great lines like, "As you see Pharaoh today, you will never see him again forever." And we crossed the sea, and then the sea collapsed upon the Egyptians. All of our troubles were sort of behind us, and we had this great moment where we all sang a song. This wonderful moment of prophecy in which the words of the song were inscribed in our hearts, and we all sang together sort of spontaneously. This was a massive prophetic moment. We all had prophecy at the same time, and they say, that even the most lowly slave at that time had a greater prophecy, a greater revelation of God than Ezekiel saw when he saw the chariot. It's a moment, a peak revelation for all of the people all together. And then what? Then we went 3 days. We didn't find water. How do you come down from a moment like that? How do you have a peak experience like the splitting of the sea, and what happens the day after? It's a huge letdown. As the Midrash says, it's like going from a high mountain to a low pit. This is a time that we sort of felt uninspired, felt lost, felt, what do we do now? Now what? Here we are, we're on the other side of the sea, there's no more Egyptians, but it's really like, where am I? What do we do? It's a place of feeling lost, and of course, this is when we Jews start complaining. And this is what we do, we start complaining to Moshe. We don't have what to drink. After 3 days in the desert, we came to a place called Mara, bitterness. Not surprising that this is where we first find ourselves, is in a place called bitterness. And there was water, but it was foul. We couldn't drink it. It says, and they couldn't drink the waters of Mara because they were bitter. Of course, this is a double entendre. Who was bitter? What was bitter? Was the water bitter or were the people bitter? Obviously, it's both. And in that moment, Yarehu Hashem Eitz, Hashem shows Moshe a tree. Now, getting ready for Tu B'Shvat is obviously a clue for us. But the tree here is the tree of life, it's the tree of the Torah. And put the tree into the water and into the Jewish people, and it was sweetened. And then it comes and it says, and there he gave us a chok and a mishpat and a test. A chok is sort of a law which we don't understand and we just meant to follow. A mishpat is something we can understand. It's something we might even come up with ourselves. And what was the test? The test was first of whether we would keep Shabbat. See, now, the Midrash develops it. What was the chok? The chok was he started to tell us about the para aduma, the laws of the red cow that purifies us from the defilement of coming in contact with a corpse. And what was the mishpat? These were the laws of if this person's cow hurts this person's cow, and all of the torts that are in the Torah. And the test was Shabbos. And all of these three things, says the Ishbitzer Rebbe, are sort of empty places. You know, when somebody dies, we're left with that feeling of emptiness. And when something's happened that's destructive and people's property has been hurt, there's a sense of, well, how do we fix this? It's a difficult moment. And Shabbat we're not doing. It's a time of refraining from. And in all of these three times, this is God showing us that we can have a sweet moment with Hashem, with the Torah, even when it's not a peak experience. Even when we're walking in the desert and there's no water, there's still room for a moment and that's what comes with the Torah. Is that Hashem is teaching us that it's not always the moments of great, illustrious consciousness that are the moments where we can have a sweet moment with God, but it's the little moments where something has gone wrong and we can say, oh, okay, right here, there's a way to fix it. That there's an option for us to go and be with God in a low place, in a difficult place, in a time that needs a little bit of tikkun, a little bit of fixing. Even there, Hashem can be with us. And this is a great teaching, because in today's world, everybody wants something dramatic. Everything is something overwhelming. When we look in movies, we see it's the person who falls desperately in love, and love conquers all. But for every of us who are actually in love, we know that love is not a fall. You have to climb in love. It's a day after day of investing in relationship and working on yourself and putting effort into growing and becoming closer and closer. And so it is with Hashem. Sometimes we have these great moments, great revelatory experiences in which everything is so clear to us. Most of the time it's little things that we need to fix here and little things we need to fix there, and working on ourselves. And Hashem comes to teach us that when we're in the most bitter places and the most difficult and uninspiring situations, this is where we can endeavor to bring God into our lives. And by doing this, we can walk in the way of Torah, and we can sweeten the waters of life with the tree of the life, with the tree of the Torah, by knowing that in every difficult moment there is a way to connect to Hashem specifically for that time. I bless you and me and all of us that we should always find it in all of the difficulties in the world. We should find the little things that we can do to connect to Hashem every day. Shabbat Shalom.